right. Well, hello, and welcome everyone to our BG5 Live. Today is November 26, 2019. This is episode number 34, and we're also going to be taking a look at trait number 34, ironically. And what we're going to be taking a look at is selfishness used for the highest good. Now, of course, before we jump in and get started, let's say hello to our panel and welcome them here. So, hey, Chris, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm so excited for this class.
Great to have you here.
Thanks.
And Natalie.
Yes. Hi, welcome. I'm happy to be here.
Well, great to have you here. And Lavina.
Hi, everybody. Super excited to be here with you. Got lots of energy. We'll see why in just a moment.
I love it. I love it. And also, just as a heads up, we are going to be taking a break for the month of December. So we won't have any BG5 Lives for the month of December. We'll be back online next year, 2020. Can you believe it's almost the end of the year? So we're going to take off December and we will be back in January. So same day, same time, just taking a little break. I know, Chris, you're moving. I'm looking for just a break and it's the holidays and everything else. So we're going to take off the month of December. And again, we'll see you all back here in January. So let's dive in to trait 34 and taking a look at selfishness used for the higher good. So what I wanted to start with and is kind of talking about, again, we started this last week, really taking a look at using your energy properly. And one of the things we're going to take a look at today with trait 34 is about selfishness. And oftentimes we think of selfishness in sort of a negative way. But what we're taking a look at here is the selfish use of energy, but yet for the common good. So there's sort of this duality here. And what I want to talk about just real briefly, this is one of my favorite topics to talk about, is the times that we're in. Basically where we are and where we're headed. So I'd like to just take a quick look at the nature and the way of the upcoming era and compare it to the era that we've been in for the last 400 years. So things are changing, things are shifting. And so we all need to be prepared, as the times are changing, because it'll ultimately be a shock. But, if you haven't noticed, things that once worked really don't work anymore. So we have to be prepared. So what I want to take a look at is what it is moving out of the era of planning and moving into the era of the individual. And part of the reason why I want to talk about it, because part of the era of the individual that we're moving into has to do with this trait 34. And this trait 34 is all about personal power, but it's a personal power that's in a sense a sort of selfish energy in many respects. It's really to be used for yourself personally, but yet used for yourself personally in a way that benefits others. Now, if we take a look at the era of planning, where we have been is we've been sort of in the nature of where we've been is in logical focus and about sensibility. So it's a balanced response approach, a balanced and responsible approach to problem solving. So this is the logical focus, scientific problem solving by trusted authorities, right? So, our scientists are all of the people that know all of these facts and know all of this data. It's about trusting those authorities and about this logical and focused scientific approach to problem solving. So that's what we've been in for the last 400 years, but where we're moving to has the connection to the 34. And so the nature that we're moving to or moving into is about personal power. And instead of sensibility, it's about common sense. So it's knowing when enough is enough. Again, it's using your energy properly, and it's using your own personal power to problem solve using common sense. So in many respects, what we're moving from is trusting authorities. What we're moving to is trusting ourselves. And this is one of the things that we take a look at in BG5 as well as human design, is how do you make decisions? How do you trust yourself to make those decisions? Now, I just wanted to tie in the way as well, because it also has to do with selfishness. The way that we've been in for the past 400 years is community. It's the mother, father. It's harmony as the key to successful maintenance of relationships. So it's basically do what mom and dad says. So it's trusting authorities because they know best. Now, what we're moving into is we're moving into the way of the spirit. It's the 55-6. This is about selfishness as well. Very interesting. Again, we're going to be talking about selfishness, so that's why I happened to pull these two here. So selfishness, the possibility of finding spirit through materialism. And it really is about trusting yourself, that you know best, versus trusting, the authorities, right? Instead of trusting mother, father figure, trusting authorities, it's really about moving towards trusting yourself. So, Chris, it looks like your mind is.
I'm just totally having this thing over here where I'm like, yeah, I'm just thinking about how my parents are probably like, yeah, you don't trust us at all. I'm like, hell no. And then how I'm looking at my kids and I'm like, just trust me. Anyway, no, but it really is, like, it is. We are here to challenge, right, that authority and to have our own authority. And I actually do teach my kids to trust themselves. And so, if something, anyway, well, that's a whole nother discussion. But yeah, I definitely have a lot to say about this one.
Love it.
Oh,
Love
God,
it.
Yeah.
Anything, Lavina, that you would like to add?
You know what it brings to mind is this term that Ra coined is enlightened selfishness. To be able, it also kind of rings true when you think about being able to take care of your own personal structure of whatever is most integral and important to your life. You have to do that first before you can really be of benefit to anybody else. You have to have your own foundation solid before you can, put your own mask on before you try to take care of and save everybody else first. So it's about going internal and discovering what is most empowering to you. And that's the enlightened selfishness. It's like, we got to take care of self first, because through the self we awaken to the duality, the ability to help and support other people. So that, I like that term that he used a lot.
Yeah, really beautifully said.
I also find in my daughter and my generation, her generation and my generation. So she's 13 and in teenage. She's actually already kind of living it, like the new era. And whereas my generation was much more of trusting the authorities and the mother and the father and the respect, etc. And yeah, it's I could totally relate to the laughing of Chris, and I love it. I love to see it. She is. I don't even have to quote unquote teach her to trust herself. She is like, what can they teach me if I know this and that about my, she's just living it.
Yeah.
And I'm just happy for it to see this, and I nourish that, because it's also what will bring her hopefully enlightened selfishness, whereas now it's not always enlightened. But in the future,
yeah, beautifully said. And so, so kind of taking a look at, where we've been, what we're moving towards, and really what BG5 is all about is learning to trust yourself. Learning, in a sense, how do you use common sense to navigate, to navigate the world? And again, trusting yourself and this possibility of finding spirit through materialism. That's really one of the keys of what BG5 is all about, is how do we find success and satisfaction and peace and surprise here on this physical plane, that we enjoy life, we enjoy doing what we're doing, we're making a difference for others, but at the same time, making sure that we're taking care of ourselves. And this enlightened selfishness, like Lavina was talking about, is almost like the more, in a sense, you do things for yourself in a selfish way, for yourself, that then can support and contribute to the common good. These presentations, even this BG5 live, if I am to be truly honest, I do it for myself. Like in a selfish way. All of the classes I've created, in a sense, I've done it in a selfish way to help me understand, to help me learn it better. And then it happens to be of benefit to everyone else. Even in teaching it and doing the BG5 live. I mean, we've talked about several times that we're kind of doing it in a selfish way because we get to, talk about it and geek out about it, right? So it may, maybe appear as selfish because we're doing it in a sense for quote unquote selfish reasons. But at the same time, it's allowing others to benefit, from us doing it for ourselves. And that's sort of the selfish use of energy, doing something that you really love, that you really enjoy. On the other side, it has benefits for others. It's sort of this sort of kind of weird inside out type of thing, that the more selfish you are in that respect, and you can say it selfish or selfish as in self-like, right? So in doing that, again, taking a look at how you can use that energy to benefit others. So again, using your energy properly. And as we go through, what we're taking a look at in 34 is really about this personal power. So though admired and even sought after, this personal power is to be utilized for the individual only. So this is one of the things about the 34 that's very interesting, when you take a look at all of the other traits that are a part of the energy resource. Because all of the other traits in the energy resource are, in a sense, they're very either communal, they're very tribal, right, to use for others, or inside of the penta, right? So inside of a small group dynamic, they're traits that are utilized for others, and we also have those traits that are, in a sense, the format traits and strengths that are, the kind of part of the circuitry, a little bit more advanced there. But anyway, this is the only trait that really is used, and it's called personal power because it's a power and an energy that's to be used by and for the individual. Yet this power is only great when the individual uses that power to serve the common good. And so this is the movement that this is the moment that power is identified with awareness. It's turned into deeds, right? Because it is what part of what creates the express builder strength, the 3420. And it can empower intuition, it can empower behavior, or it can empower contemplation and action in the now. So you can see that it is a very, very powerful trait. And I believe, Chris, you have this trait.
Yeah, I do have this trait. I have the 3457, so empowering intuition. And it's interesting because I'm doing a sacral mastermind, and this is the first trait that we started with, all around this power. And I like to think of it, for those of you who have seen the most recent Wonder Woman, it was a couple of years old, but there's this part where the mad scientist makes these little vials that the bad guy, sniffs, and he like becomes really powerful. I think of trait 34 like that. Like we each, whoever has this trait has this little vial that's hanging around their neck that is for them to be empowered, and then they act not as a bad guy, but for the betterment of everybody, right? But what happens is that other people see that we have this power and they want it. And we're like, oh yeah, sure, you can have it. Go ahead. And this is what causes all these crazy boundary issues. It creates, I see a lot of healers who are just giving their power away. They actually think that by giving this power to their clients, that it empowers the client. It doesn't. It makes the client very dependent on them. It's really an interesting this trait is so fascinating, and it just is so interesting to me how many dynamics can really come out of the not being present and aware, or not behaving correctly through this power, or not using the intuition correctly to be empowered. It's powerful. Yeah,
Yeah.
no pun intended, or pun fully intended. I don't
Yeah,
care.
exactly. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about for you, Lavina?
I believe I shared this a while back, but for those who are new to this particular trait, this is one of those traits that has, it's pure power, and it has a deep need to be personally empowered. So what can happen, like Chris was saying, when people start to give their power away, they're not really being in integrity with themselves. What can happen is disempowerment, and then this deep rage starts to build. And this is one of those traits, the one trait that is in this energy resource that can actually go into violence if it is not honored, if the response is not honored, and you keep, suppressing and repressing, and you don't have the ability, the integrity to follow your own convictions no matter what, or follow your intuition, or just use your power in the now for that personal empowerment. The disempowerment can turn into bullying and actual violence, potential eruption of violence. So this is something to watch out for. Really have to take care of honoring your own personal integrity, and do not give your power away.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a really important, thing to pay attention to. Again, what we're talking about also is using your energy properly, right? And so in order to use this energy properly, as Chris was saying, it's for you. And what Lavina was saying, it's for you. It's not for anyone else. And again, that's part of what makes this particular trait so unique as well. I was gonna oh, sorry. So, are you okay, Natalie? Did you have anything to add? Oh, you're muted. Okay, nope. No problem. So, what kind of going along with what Lavina was talking about, how it can, turn into violence. It's very interesting what quality 5 is about. It's about annihilation. It's one of those traits that's like, whoa, what is that about? Annihilation. That sounds pretty, pretty massive, pretty, you know, can have the very negative connotations as well. Remember, this is quality 5. This is the messenger. And this can be the total elimination of resistance. And I put this picture here because the elevation is, it can be the resistance to release power other than when necessary, or also the power to destroy completely. And once accomplished, the ability to transfer the power to normal purposes. So I was just thinking, when I was reading that, I was thinking of, those fix and flip shows where they, totally annihilate the walls and tear everything down. But sometimes you need to tear things down, right, in order to build it up properly. And so that's why I put this picture there. So, so again, there is the power to destroy, just like what Lavina was talking about, with violence, and that can, that can show up in negative ways. Again, it can also show up in positive ways too, where resistance or things need to be torn down first so that you can then, once accomplished, the ability to transfer power to normal purposes. The challenge is the discomfort with the need to always release power, and a difficulty in shedding the patterns established to deal with resistance, symbolized by its phases, the feeling that nothing is permanently annihilated. So again, one of those pretty, sort of intense qualities as we're taking a look at it. Anything you guys would like to add?
I had a class this morning, differentiation degree at IHDS, and one of my fellow students had this, and he really resonated with, he had it in his communication and thinking, and he really identified with the need to completely annihilate certain people that he talked to. And we can see where that's who and where that's coming from down below the surface. So these traits that show up, it's not just a theory, it's something that actually shows up in the world. So just to watch for that, if this is something that you have, what quality do you have it in? Is it in this fifth quality? If you do you tend to annihilate the resistance? And like this, I love this picture that you chose, completely annihilated the resistance of that wall. Yeah, because we got to do something different. This pattern, this established barrier boundary of this room needs to be annihilated so that we can build something new. So it's a very creative, fertile force, this energy resource. And here's one of those primary traits that goes up straight to action. Yep. So it has the capacity to be very fruitful in right timing and right response.
Right. Yeah.
I love that you just said that, Lavina, and I'm thinking about just coming back to looking at our design as a whole, and how nothing is inherently bad or inherently good, and that there's always, right, that we call it that binary, that paradox, that there is a lower vibrational or frequency, that when, annihilation is annihilating someone else unconsciously, it can do great damage. When it's annihilating a mistruth, when it's annihilating something that is just like, that needs to be, destroyed because it is not serving anyone, then it's awesome. And the thing about trait 34 is that it doesn't care. In a lot of ways, it really doesn't. It is when it is fully being, when a person is fully in the power of this strength, they're not actually aware of anyone or anything that's going on in the personal way. It's like they're just so in that power stream that it's taking care of whatever needs to be taken care of. And again, if that's at the higher, more gift level, but it can also be that way in the violent level too. And so that also looks at where else in the design are you not taking care of yourself? Are you not taking care of your energy? Are you giving that energy away? Like Lavina was saying, and like I was saying earlier, and then where are you cultivating that energy so right. that when you are sort of just in the stream of it, it's being used correctly in order to build up something new.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Yeah. Right. I can't remember if what line mine is in. I
think it's in
is it just
4? It's a 4.
It's a 4. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we can see here with Chris, she has it continuously defined. And for those of us who don't have this, and even Chris, I'm wondering if you have noticed when this particular trait comes in, it comes in twice a year, either through the core essence or the grounding imbalance. Do you notice that you have more energy during those weeks? Like this whole week, today is a 5th quality, so the last 4 days, more energy to do things. You guys notice that?
Yeah. I actually was wondering if maybe I'm a little bipolar.
This week it could feel like that because it's like, woohoo, let's fly.
It is intense. Yes, power. I do. I feel, and it's not just that I have a lot of energy to do stuff. It's like whoosh. I mean, there is so much intuitive activity that is happening for me. It is like boom, 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 boom. I mean, there's so much coming in that I can hardly manage it. That's what it feels like for me. So it's both, yes, increased energy and power, but also just massive amounts of information coming in.
I can see how that would affect you. Yeah. Karen, how does it affect you? Have you noticed?
Yeah, I don't have the 34. Let me just pull up my design here. But I have this from the last class, but I don't have I don't have that. I have the 57. It's actually felt really intense, but like more of a negative side, especially yesterday. Today I feel much better, but it just is kind of like this intense focused energy in my body that it's like I didn't know what to do with. I'm like, is there something wrong with me? Am I am I sick? What, like, or, you know, I didn't know what to do with it. It just didn't feel, I could feel it. And once I looked at the chart, it was almost like being able to see, because right now this is, it's part of integration, and all of integration is almost all defined. And if with my 57, it's all defined. So it just felt like an energy that inside of my body that I just didn't know what to do with. And it felt very uncomfortable.
Yeah, this is an intense energy. So for someone like me who has it undefined, what I tend to notice is that I will amplify the heck out of it, and I'll be super, like, you know, superwoman all over the place doing lots of things, or I'll just be flat on my back, totally exhausted with all that power pouring through me. So that's, for me, is an undefined energy resource. Natalie, what is it like for you?
Yeah, interesting again. So I had a rough weekend, and and with a few sleeping, and I sleep a lot. So, but so I was broken down. But then Sunday, so I slept Sunday on Monday, and then Monday, so yesterday, it was like, whew, I went through my house doing stuff that has been laying around for a while. And yeah, whereas usually if I have such a weekend with party and then little sleep, I'm like, you know, off for a while. Yeah, interesting, actually.
Yeah, I find it hard to sleep during these types of energetic influences. You know, you just might be up because there's so much energy vibrating in the body. You don't know, like Karen, you don't know what to do with it. What's going on, you know?
Yeah.
And it really depends on how it's affecting your personal design. So like for me, this week I was at a conference. So there was a lot of people around. So I had some energy stuff to deal with there anyway. But today with the 5, the quality 5, my body is responding with a lot of, I couldn't sleep last night. I got up super early and I've been going all day, and I seem perfectly fine, but I can feel underneath the surface this, this like, if I'm going to fall apart, if I vibrate too much, you know, it's like this fried feeling. If you overwork, that's what it's like.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
When did this come in? Because it's interesting. I was laying in bed the other night, and it could be because of too much coffee. So I could definitely feel it. But I literally, my body was, it was like, I'm there, I'm fine. And then suddenly it was like a lightning bolt, and my whole body just was like it was wild. And I thought, oh my
that's
God,
how I felt
what
too.
is happening?
The 5 came in, according to my body graph, at 4 a.m. this morning. And then as far as the 34 trait is concerned, it came in at 10 p.m., 10:30 p.m. It looks like November 22nd.
That's it. That is exactly.
Was that the day? Yeah.
Yes, that was the day I went to
Friday
lay down.
night.
Yep, Friday night. I went to lay down, and it was, I actually thought maybe I was having a heart issue, because
I was thinking the same thing.
Like it literally felt like somebody came and gave me an electric shock to my heart, because it just went like that. And I thought, oh my God, oh no. Like, I call someone?
This is the power.
That's exactly how I was feeling.
Was it? Oh, okay,
yes.
Cool. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. It was like, am I having, you know, my mom just had a stroke. So I'm like, oh my God, am I having a stroke? Am I having a heart attack? Right. I mean, what's like going on? Because it feels so intense.
It felt exactly like that, like a heart, like I actually had the thought, I might not be making it through the night. This is really wild.
Wow.
Yeah. I had the same thing. I had the exact same thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Huh.
Yeah.
So whatever that piece was. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, you know, so knowing that I'm just not going crazy, I feel so much better today, but it's very interesting. It's been the last few days. And now it's finally like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I was a little concerned. Very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm glad you shared that, because that's how I was feeling too.
Yeah, and it's not that everybody is going to do that, but just in some particular people, chemistry, what have you, it just might really hit you. And you'll usually notice these ones that are connecting up and creating life force energy from either opposite sides of the strength, particularly when it is coming from those two, core essence, grounding, and balance. That's 70% of the energy that all of us are dealing with right now, filtering, expressing, experiencing. Yeah. So,
wow.
Because if we look at the famous chart, that's also what it is today. And oh, Tina Turner, cool.
Awesome.
Because the 34 and the 20 always come together. So what Lavina was just saying. So you have this full strength whenever the 34 is in the core essence. We have the full strength always. So it's not just the power that you feel, but it's the power to manifestation, to expression, to
Yeah, and I love Tina Turner as this example too. I mean, if you take a look at the energy that she is on stage, and she's just a powerhouse. She's one of the best-selling record artists of all time. She's referred to as the queen of rock and roll and has sold more than 2 million records worldwide.
200 million.
Or 200 million, there we go, 200 million records worldwide. And she's noted for her energetic stage presence, her powerful vocals, her career longevity, and her trademark legs. And, it's interesting, her life fork theme, this is kind of what we've been talking about too, is sort of this duality. So it's, you bridge humanity's dilemma, so the duality, between individual charisma and selfishness and communal responsibility, right? That whole thing of using that selfishness for the common good. Right? They seem like two distinct things, but it's this duality of bringing them together where this individual charisma and selfishness also provides for the common good, this communal responsibility. And busyness properly aligned with loving communal support. Right? So again, it is using and being able to utilize this selfishness in a way that supports the whole. Cool. Anything in our Facebook Live or anything in our Zoom room, or if anyone would like to share in our Zoom room?
I have a couple of pieces from Facebook. Christy Rose Muir is sharing that she has the 1858 here. When we're talking about, the mother-father and all that, she said, I'm so over the CO planning authorities, and we have some likes on that. Noreen is saying, Help Hand is saying, I also have the 1855. So I'm thinking she meant 58. And then Melissa Wright is saying, I have had a lot of trouble sleeping as well. Last night, I was only able to sleep for about an hour and a half. And that's my status as well. Hour and a half approximately of sleep. And it's remarkable that this is a very unique experience to not be completely exhausted and on the bed, like just, I can't do anything. As an advisor, and not having enough sleep, being up and, oh, I'm fine. And I didn't have a lot of coffee or anything. It's just like, wow, I'm okay. But that's still that undercurrent of, I am going to fall over at some point if I don't take a rest,
Tomorrow when we move out, or the day after.
Yeah, exactly. Tomorrow.
Yeah. As soon as it's gone, I'll be like, okay, need a couple days to recover.
Yeah. And it's interesting with this 34, what we're talking about. Remember, we were talking about bonding. We're now in sort of this period of transformation, and how that, in a sense, sort of intense power is necessary for transformation to happen, right? And both that transformation to empower yourself and that transformation to empower others. Just going back to the annihilation, I was just thinking what Chris said with the annihilation of, like things that are not true, or that type of thing, where everything in a sense has its purpose. And it all comes down to, essentially, it comes down to timing, when it is correct and when it's not correct, using our energy correctly when it is correct. And so, again, the importance of using our decision-making strategy in being able to, be able to have the correct timing, and have it come out at the correct time. Beautiful. All right. Anything else? Powerful, powerful traits. All right. Well, I want to wish everyone in the United States, it's Thanksgiving week here. So wishing you a happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays. We are going to take a break for the month of December. So we will see you in January. So we'll miss you, but we'll be back. So I just wanted to thank you for, this was our first run, our first year of really taking a look at exploring this BG5 Live, and we've gotten really great feedback and really great participation. So I just want to thank, first of all, I want to thank our panel, because it is so much fun to talk and discuss these things with you, Natalie and Lavina and Chris. It's just magical. It's kind of like we're again, that selfish thing that we're kind of doing it for ourselves because we just love talking about it and geeking out about it. But at the same time, I think it supports and gives people deeper insights into these different aspects and into these different traits. So I really love that. And also everyone who participates, attends live, whether it be on Facebook or whether it be in our Zoom room, and also those of you who are listening via the recording as well. Again, it's just been a very, very magical experience. Was there something from the Zoom room, Natalie?
Well, Rachel raised her hand and she needed to go, but thank you, and the smiley and the thumbs up and a heart. So yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. Well, again, thank you. Again, utilize your energy properly, right? Wait for the right timing, follow your decision-making strategy. And when all of us utilize our energy properly in a selfish way, it really benefits everyone. So we'll do last words here in just a moment. Again, if you're new to the BG5 Business Institute, you can get a free report at the bg5businessinstitute.com. You can find our past recordings on YouTube. You can also find them on our website. If you take a look at our calendar, and this is where you can also sign up for the BG5 Live if you want to come directly to our Zoom room. Again, we will start again in January. Also in January, we have our new classes coming up. So we have the BG5 Foundation course that is starting in January, as well as the BG5 Business Career and Business Consultant Certification course starting in January. So you can attend the free course, just kind of get a feel for what the course is all about. So we invite you to attend as well. And again, we always have our profit potential workshops up and running. So again, another opportunity to get involved. All right. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's hear from our panel. I'm actually going to go back to our happy holidays and happy Thanksgiving slide there. So any last words before we wrap up for today, and also wrap up for the season and wrap up for the year? So Chris, would you like to kick us off?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. This has been super fun, and I do really enjoy just geeking out with you ladies on this and everyone else who's watching us and listening. It's been really amazing to learn so much about, even more, right? We learn about the science of it, but learning about the application and how does it feel and what does everybody else experience? And even today, learning that we all were practically having heart attacks, and it's okay. It's just straight 34. So I think about today, what can you use some of the energy today? What do you need to annihilate in your life? Right? What do you need to, before you annihilate some turkey in a couple days, if you're in the United States? What about, what patterns in your life? What aspects of your life? What relationships maybe? What stuff that you're carrying around? What do you need to just annihilate, let go of, so that you can enter into 2020 with lighter, more space, knock down some walls, if you will, okay? So thank you so much for everyone being here, and can't wait to see you back here in January. And mwah, love you guys.
Yeah. And have a safe move, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about annihilating some stuff. Whew, we're going to knock some stuff down in that house. Yeah, I'm going to get a pink hard hat, just like that girl. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, Chris. And how about for you, Natalie?
Yeah, so I'm going to miss this as well, but yeah, it's really nice to have a little break as well. And I wish you all annihilating and gratefulness is what it's called, right? So in this period of contemplation, it's almost right in this December month coming up, and seeing you back in January, and we will have a wonderful start, talking about how the year starts, not the 1st of January, but the 21st of January.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Beautiful.
Great
Thank you,
teaser.
Natalie.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a great teaser, Natalie. Awesome. Nice cliffhanger. Did you know that you're actually not going through the new year right now? If there's something more, you'll find out in January. We have some more comments from the Facebook. I wanted to say thank you to those of you who are watching. Noreen is asking, thanks for more live stream. Want to see it in the future. Awesome. And yes, the YouTube, if you type in BG5 business, career in business, you will find our YouTube channel.
Or if you type in BG5 Live, you'll find it too.
BG5 Live. Well, there's a music group that's called BG5, and they might go live, so that you might see some other really hot women. Not that we're not hot, we're just not scantily clad like they are. And as far as this particular experience, for those of you who don't know, we're working in a virtual penta. So when you work with the BG5 Institute or the information, you recognize that there are certain groups of individuals that can be engineered, and our little team has been engineered to be a successful, competent, correct penta. And what I've noticed, I'm the only advisor here, what I've noticed is, even though in the afternoon, usually I'm a bit tired, even early afternoon, it's like, oh, okay, I wake up at 5:30. By the time 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock rolls around, it's like, ooh, can I really do this? And then as soon as we all get together, I get to see these bright smiling faces, and I hear the voices, and the mood, everything just lightens up, and I have the energy, and I feel a million times better afterwards. I don't have that exhausted, just like drudgery from earlier, from doing all my work independently. I really do feel the impact of us working together in this group, and the enlightened state of joy and being a part of something greater with you guys. So thank you so much for this.
Yes.
Yeah, for us being able to share this with the world, and the experiment of the human design system applied to career and business. It works. It works.
Does.
And thank you so much, Karen, for including me in this, because I wouldn't be anywhere where I am without your recognition and invitation 3-4 years ago. So thank you.
Yeah, you're very, very welcome.
Yeah.
You're very welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Just take it in. I just love this. So thank you, each and every one of you. Again, utilize your energy correctly. Follow your decision-making strategy. Like we were saying, and annihilate the resistance, what stands in the way, right? Because a lot of that stuff is not even you anyway. I mean, one of the biggest freedoms I've found in really understanding both BG5 and human design is all of the stuff that I used to make myself wrong for. It's not me anyway, right? So it's annihilating all of those things that, like, that's not me anyway. Why try? Really live true to your own design and what is correct for you. And that's really where the magic happens. And so I wish each and every one of you this magic during the holiday season. Again, I give thanks to each of you, and enjoy your Thanksgiving, enjoy your holidays with friends and with families, and with people that are close to you and important to you. Enjoy the break, and again, we will see you in January. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.